Hello and welcome to Pro-Life Primetime News. Today is Friday, May 10th. I'm Leslie Palma. In my top story tonight, I'll have a report on the New York State Attorney General's plan to ensure that more babies in the state die from abortion by making it illegal for pregnancy resource centers to tell clients about the abortion pill reversal process. A ballot initiative that will ask Florida voters to invent a right to abortion in the state constitution has raised $20 million, with nearly a quarter of that coming from the nation's largest abortion seller, Planned Parenthood. I'll have that story and more on abortion in the news. Donald Trump and Joe Biden continued their march to their respective parties' presidential nominations after Tuesday's primary in Indiana. Trump picked up 58 delegates and Biden grabbed 79. Find out what else is happening on the political scene in political news in a nutshell. The winner of a 13-mile mini marathon last weekend revealed after the race that she is 23 weeks pregnant. Meet Anna Rohrer in my final story. And don't even think about tuning out before you hear a message from Priests for Life National Director Frank Pavone on why our ministry will not comply with Biden's new rule in the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. New York Attorney General Letitia James has filed a lawsuit against Heartbeat International and nearly a dozen pregnancy resource centers in the state for promoting a procedure that has saved 5,000 unborn lives nationwide in the last decade. Ms. James is not the first abortion advocate to take aim at a process called abortion pill reversal, just the latest. Abortions cannot be reversed, she said in a news release Monday announcing the lawsuit. Any treatments that claim to do so are made without scientific evidence and could be unsafe. The term abortion pill reversal is a bit of a misnomer because once a baby has been killed by abortion, he or she cannot be brought back to life. But the destructive action of the first pill in a chemical abortion can be reversed, and the protocol Ms. James and others protest so strongly against is surprisingly simple and safe for mother and child. Two drugs are used in a chemical abortion. The first, mifepristone, blocks the hormone progesterone, which is needed for a child in the womb to continue developing. Mifepristone kills the baby, and the second drug, misoprostol, puts a mother into labor, and her dead baby is expelled from her uterus. In abortion pill reversal, a mom who changes her mind after taking that first drug can reach out to the Abortion Pill Rescue Network to find a healthcare provider near her who is willing to provide an infusion of progesterone to reverse the effects of the mifepristone. The procedure does not work after the second drug has been taken. Dr. Matt Harrison, a doctor in North Carolina, was a medical advisor for Priests for Life when he pioneered the procedure in 2006. In 2015, we hosted a press conference with the American Association of Pro-Life OBGYNs to raise awareness of the life-saving procedure and to distribute abortion pill reversal kits. In her release, Ms. James explains the reversal procedure correctly, even noting that pregnant bodies, God forbid, she should say woman or mother, produce progesterone naturally throughout pregnancy. But she goes on to say the reversal process is an experimental procedure that might not be safe. She does not mention the 5,000 healthy children living today because of it. The Attorney General wants Heartbeat, Compass Care, and the other named pregnancy resource centers to remove all, quote, false and misleading claims in marketing materials. In an effort to block Ms. James' lawsuit, Heartbeat and the other organizations beat her to court with a lawsuit of their own. On April 30th, attorneys from the Thomas More Society filed a complaint in New York State Supreme Court saying the Attorney General's threatened suit violates the First and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution, as well as the New York State Constitution and state civil rights law. The pregnancy centers are hoping for the same victory that centers in Colorado enjoyed. Lawmakers in that abortion-friendly state passed a law banning abortion pill reversal, but a federal judge in October of last year said the law likely violates the U.S. Constitution's guarantee of religious liberty, and he blocked Colorado from enforcing the law while he evaluates the lawsuit. Jarrell Gotze, president of Heartbeat, said the New York Attorney General's lawsuit is anti-woman in that it insists that women who have changed their minds complete abortions they no longer want. Floridians Protecting Freedom, the pro-abortion group promoting an amendment to the state constitution that would invent a right to abortion, has raised $20 million thus far for Amendment 4. Illinois Governor Jay Pritzker's Think Big America has contributed $500,000 and plans to further help the campaign with research, communications, and more money. Meanwhile, the nation's #1 abortion seller, Planned Parenthood, gave $4.5 million to the effort and trained 500 people in a week on how to sell the confusingly worded amendment to voters in the state. The Faith and Freedom Coalition, which is urging a no on 4, has raised only $76,000, according to the Wall Street Journal, with most of that coming from the Florida Conference of Catholic Bishops. But the group, of which Priests for Life is a member, also plans to knock on the doors of 1 million evangelical voters' homes, and more than 6,000 churches have committed to distributing its voter guides. Meanwhile, in Missouri, abortion advocates have turned in more than twice the number of signatures needed to get a pro-abortion amendment before voters in the Show Me state. In response, pro-lifers opposed to the amendment have upped their game, according to the BBC. Elected officials have been enlisted to speak out against the amendment, and a new effort has begun to urge those who have signed the petition to withdraw their signatures. Also on the ballot front, pro-abortion lawmakers in abortion-friendly Minnesota are considering an equal rights amendment that would amend the Constitution to ensure abortion is always legal and available. If approved by lawmakers this session, the amendment would go before voters in 2026. And some good news from New York. Abortion advocates' efforts to put a pro-abortion amendment on the ballot have failed, at least for this year. State Supreme Court Justice Daniel Doyle has blocked from the November ballot a proposed referendum that, if approved by voters, would have written the right to abortion into the state constitution. Attorney General Letitia James said she will appeal. The Florida legislature has passed, and Governor Ron DeSantis will sign, an expansion of the state's safe haven law. Moms who decide they cannot parent their newborns now will have 30 days to safely surrender their babies. The previous statute gave moms just 72 hours to drop their babies off at hospitals, fire and police stations, and where available, safe haven baby boxes. The bill comes after a baby was found dead last week in a garbage can on the campus of the University of Tampa. The mother told police she delivered the baby in her dorm bathroom, where the child briefly cried before dying, according to Fox 13. In Louisiana on Tuesday, a legislative committee rejected a bill that would have added rape and incest as exceptions to the state law that protects most babies from abortion. Representative Dodie Horton, a Republican, explained why she voted against the bill. "I think we should punish the perpetrator to the nth degree. I'd love to hang them from the high street if it was in my power to do so," she said, "but I cannot condone killing the innocent." Abortions for reasons of rape and incest account for about 1% of the total number of abortions in the country. A study on chemical abortion in the United Kingdom found that since 2018, 39,000 women have been treated at hospitals in England and Wales for complications they experienced with the so-called do-it-yourself abortions. 18,000 of those women were admitted to hospitals. In 2022, chemical abortion accounted for about 85% of abortions in the two countries. Every day in England and Wales in the first half of 2022, 505 women began chemical abortions, with 30 suffering complications serious enough to send them to the hospital. 14 of those 30 were admitted as patients. We will never see a report like this in the United States because the government no longer keeps track of adverse reactions, except death. And finally, another mother has been killed over her refusal to have an abortion. Police in Janesville, Wisconsin say 23-year-old Logan Barkley fatally shot 22-year-old Kirsten Hansen in the stomach on April 16th after he took her for a walk in Peace Park to discuss the pregnancy, and Kirsten insisted she wanted to keep the baby. The two already are parents to a 1-year-old son. Homicide kills more pregnant women than any other cause, with husbands or boyfriends often responsible for the murders of their partners and their unborn children. And that's abortion in the news. Donald Trump and Joe Biden continued their unstoppable march to their respective parties' presidential nominations after Tuesday's primary in Indiana. Trump picked up 58 delegates and Biden grabbed 79. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley captured 21% of the vote in the Republican primary, despite having dropped out of the race months ago. In other races in Indiana, U.S. Senator Mike Braun was the Republican pick for governor. He will face Jennifer McCormick, a one-time Republican who now identifies as a Democrat. A seat in the U.S. Senate opened up with Braun's decision to run for governor. Winners in the Senate primary were Republican United States Rep. Jim Banks and Democrat Valerie McRae. In an interview with abortion-friendly MSNBC, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi outlined what Democrats would do if Joe Biden is reelected and the party regains control of the House and Senate. First, they would abolish the filibuster, a procedure in the Senate that ensures most bills have the support of at least 60 members. Then they would codify Roe, which is Democrat speak for passing the radical Women's Health Protection Act, repealing every other law protecting babies and their mothers on every level of government. Emily Davis of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America said Americans should be, quote, terrified of the fact that she's saying it out in the open. Pelosi was among 17 people honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom last Friday. When bestowing the medal, the highest civilian honor, Biden said history would remember her as the greatest Speaker of the House of Representatives. That's arguable, but certainly she has been the most pro-abortion speaker to date. Some of the other winners were much more deserving. I'll post a story on X on our page at Pro-Life News Show. The Republican National Committee has filed a lawsuit in federal court to prevent Nevada from counting mail-in ballots received after Election Day, as state law allows. The law passed by Democrats in 2021 permits ballots received up to 4 days after Election Day to be counted. The lawsuit says the provision also assumes that envelopes received 3 days after Election Day that don't have a postmark indicating otherwise were posted in time. Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Whatley said the practice violates federal law and undermines election integrity. A Democratic candidate for state Supreme Court in Georgia is suing the state because he wants to tout his pro-abortion views but is prohibited by a state law that says judicial candidates cannot talk about how they might rule on any case that could come before them. Early voting is already underway for the May 21st election, pitting disgruntled Democrat John Barrow against incumbent Justice Andrew Pinson. Barron Trump, the youngest son of Donald Trump and Melania Trump's only child, has been selected by Florida Republicans to serve as a delegate at large for the state at the Republican National Convention this summer. 3 of his 4 older siblings, Donald, Eric, and Tiffany, also were selected. This is Barron's first foray into politics. The 6'7", 18-year-old will graduate from high school next week. And that's political news in a nutshell. Turns out the winner of the Indianapolis 500 Festival Mini Marathon was running for 2 last Saturday. Ann Rohrer was more than a minute ahead of the woman who placed second, finishing the 13.1-mile course in 75 minutes and 16 seconds. She was off from her pace from the 2023 race, which she won in 71.5 minutes. That might be because this year she's 23 weeks pregnant. The Notre Dame grad, who studied neuroscience and business, also competed in the Boston Marathon last year and was the top female non-elite runner in that race. She said in an Instagram post that her win in Indianapolis proves women have superpowers. I can't say I was expecting to win yesterday, but the Lord must have willed it. It's been a fun and strange training block trying to gauge how fast I can run while getting into better shape and simultaneously growing a whole human, she said in the post. While this was far off my personal record, it will go down as one of my favorite races because it was an opportunity to really share some of the gifts I've been given. I'll always love running and competing, but it can't even compare to the gift of motherhood. Here's an interview Rohrer did immediately after winning the race last week.
Well, we are joined now with the women's champion today. This is Anna Rohrer, who joins us. She is a 2-time champion. She's from Carmel. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Tell me about your race today.
I'm a big fan of just steady and keep your eyes on the person in front of you, slowly inch away. Honestly, I went into it, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I'm actually 23 weeks pregnant.
Oh,
congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. So I didn't think I'd run quite the same time I did last year, but you know, whatever God wills is going to happen on the day.
Yes. Is this your first child?
Yes.
Oh,
congratulations, that's so awesome. Tell us about the conditions out there. We've heard a lot about the humidity.
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, I'll say that, until the last like 2 miles was just directly against the sun, which wasn't great. But I don't know, there have at least been a few hot mornings I've run in, so I prepared as much as I could, I guess.
Anna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Mishawaka and went to Notre Dame, ran there, studied neuroscience and business management. I work full-time for a startup called Dream Fuel, so we do mental performance coaching, very much in line with what athletes need, but it's for business people. And yeah, I'm married, my husband's over there, and we're expecting our first child here shortly to join the other nieces and nephews.
That's so exciting. Why do you run?
You know, initially when I got into running, I didn't love it. I did it to get in shape for other things and then discovered my talent for it, and then the love really came, but it's just such a gift to be able to use your body in this way, and to me I run because I realize the gift it is, and I love the feeling of being able to work as hard as you can.
And you're 23 weeks pregnant. What has the training been like for you while you've been pregnant?
It hasn't been too different aside from I don't worry about paces as much. I go just by feel, and I got to really lean into my recovery days, I'll say that.
All right, Anna Rohrer, our champion and our mom-to-be.
Proud of you, excited,
yes.
Congrats.
Congratulations, yes, very much, and to your family that's celebrating as well.
Pregnant women in sports are becoming more common. Tennis great Serena Williams won the Australian Open in 2017 while pregnant. Professional basketball player Derica Hamby was pregnant with her second child when she led her team, the Las Vegas Aces, to their first WNBA title in 2022. Swimmer Dana Vollmer competed while 6 months pregnant. Golfer Lindsay Weaver-Wright was 7 months pregnant for her last tournament before her maternity leave. Olympian Kara Goucher ran and lifted weights every day while pregnant, and triathlete Michelle Vesterby has completed grueling Ironman competitions when pregnant. Thank you so much for joining me on Pro-Life Primetime News, produced at Priest for Life headquarters in Titusville, Florida. If you like this show, please consider making a donation to prolifegift.org. These donations help fund all of our work here at Priest for Life, which enables us to continue educating, equipping, and activating God's people to end abortion. For all your pro-life news updates during the week, please follow us on X at Pro-Life News Show, and please make sure to tune into our other shows like Just Ask Janet and Praying for America. Go to endabortion.tv for the schedule. And before you go, please watch this video from Priest for Life National Director Frank Pavone explaining why our organization will not comply with a recent change to the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. I'm Leslie Palma. Remember, life is the only choice.
Well, we are very proud at Priest for Life to have once again stood up to a administration that is just trying to force people to violate their conscience. Biden has said that employers across America need to accommodate their employees should they request time off to get an abortion. Now, they're doing this. They instituted this rule, which we already said very publicly we will not comply with, because we will not participate in any way, shape, or form with the killing of a baby. But they implemented this rule under a law called the Pregnant Women's I'm not remembering the name of the law. Hold on a second. Pregnant Women's Fairness Act. Right. Okay, let me start that again. 4, 3. Well, we at Priest for Life were very proud to stand up to the Biden administration recently when we publicly said we would not comply with a rule that they brought forward. Once again, they're trying to make people of conscience violate their conscience. What did they say? That employers would have to accommodate an employee who wanted to have an abortion, give them the time to do that, to travel if necessary, and make other accommodations. No, we will not comply with that. We'll never comply with that, because it would be participating in the killing of a baby. Brothers and sisters, they put forward this rule under a law called the Pregnant Women's Fairness Act. It's a good law because it says to employers, accommodate those who are with child so that their pregnancy, so that their childbirth can be as well provided for as possible. And of course, we should all make room for and accommodate in various ways those moms that are trying to have their babies. We should not accommodate those who are trying to kill their babies. And that's the difference. That law was never meant to facilitate abortion. But the Biden administration and the Democrat Party don't care about what the law was originally intended to do. We see them twisting all kinds of laws all over the place. We see them violating the constitutional limits of their authority all over the place. Look at what Biden continues to do about student loans, even though the Supreme Court itself told him you don't have the constitutional authority to forgive student debt. He's doing it anyway. They don't care about the law. They don't care about the Constitution. But this is why what we have done is to say, should we ever be in a position that we're presented with that request, we will not comply. Now, because we have not been presented with that request, and because our employees are all pro-life, we are not initiating legal action at this point. But we are saying we are ready to do so. We are making a moral statement. We will not comply. And we want to sound the alarm and alert everybody else, employers and other citizens as well, that this is an outrageous violation of our moral and religious freedom in America. No administration should try to compel people in any way, shape, or form to collaborate in abortion. We've got a great constitutional attorney as our special counsel. His name is Robert Muse of the American Freedom Law Center. I invite you to look them up, American Freedom Law Center, and they defend pro-life people and believers and patriots across this country and at every level of their activity. So thank you, friends, for spreading the word about this particular news item, this important press release, this important stand that we all need to take. God bless.